If you had a machine where you could take $1 and get $8 back, how many dollars would you put into that machine? Well, if you're like most people, the answer is as many dollars as you possibly can. In fact, that's exactly what happened to Brian Dixon when he created a quiz funnel to sell his membership, Hope Writers. Check out Brian's story and his quiz in just a moment right here. But first, let me share something with you right now. You see, right now you can get your hands on my full quiz funnel blueprint, which is a 25-page downloadable PDF that gives you the entire quiz funnel map all in one place. It's the exact process that I personally followed myself to build quiz funnels in 23 different markets, to build multiple seven-figure businesses, and become a #1 national best-selling author and Inc. 500 CEO. Just click the link with this video to download the full blueprint right here, right now, for free. Now, once you've checked out the blueprint for yourself, you might still have some questions like, what exactly does a quiz funnel look like? Is a quiz funnel right for you and your business? How do you know what your quiz should be about? Well, I'm going to be diving into these questions and more on a special once-a-year, totally free quiz funnel workshop that I'm hosting literally days from right now. Now, if you want to find out more about how to implement quiz funnels in your business, go ahead and click the link with this video to get instant access to the quiz funnel blueprint, and I'll also put you on the notification list for once we go live with this free training. All right, I'm going to leave you with that for now, and I look forward to seeing you on the inside. Hey, this is Ryan Levesque here, and I'm super excited for this interview. And the reason for that is you're going to be able to see behind the scenes of a brand new quiz that literally went from nothing to over 100,000 people who have taken this quiz in an incredibly short amount of time. And not only are you going to hear the story behind this quiz, but we're actually going to show the quiz itself so you can see what it actually looks like. And most importantly, we're going to get to meet the man behind this quiz and how he's using it in his business to do some really special and incredible things. So please join me in welcoming our special guest of the hour, Mr. Brian Dixon. Brian, how you doing? I should call you Dr. Brian Dixon. I'm just, I'm not giving you the respect that you deserve. Dr. Brian Dixon, what's going on, my friend? How you doing?
I love it. Yes, my background's in education, so I do have a doctoral degree in educational technology. And it's like one of those things that it's only like worth the price of the paper that the degree was printed on. But I actually think it changed me as a person to see how can we use technology to really engage our clients and our customers. And I absolutely love the whole quiz funnel strategy because it works so well with what we know about metacognition, about how learners work and how learners make progress when they feel like you're really connecting with them and engaging with them. So I love what you do. I'm one of your biggest fans. I'm really honored to be here, and I just want to help y'all watching right now to make progress in your business.
I love it. I love it. And I'm so excited to show this thing. I'm so excited to dive into the results and talk about numbers. But before we get into any of that, let's set the stage. Let's tell us a little bit about, your business. Who do you serve? What do you sell? Where in the country are you? Where in the world are you? I think it'll be really cool to maybe set the stage before we kind of dive right in.
Absolutely. I had a dream of being a published author for most of my life. I literally have journals going all the way back to high school, probably before that, about wanting to get a book deal. And for those of you that's your dream, wanting to write a book, what do they say? I think it's the most common kind of bucket list goal that people have. But the publishing process was really overwhelming to me. I actually have a drawer. I keep it right over there so I can check it every once in a while where I start to get a little prideful. 17 rejection letters from different publishers. Wow. So my publishing journey was very slow and really challenging. And as I left education, I was in education for 14 years. As I left education and started doing some behind the scenes kind of marketing stuff for people like Michael Hyatt and Crystal Payne and some really cool people, I started to have that dream of writing a book again one day because I got to see behind the scenes of how do they do it. And through some trial and error, I found basically, two business partners. So it's not just me, two business partners, Gary and Emily, and together the three of us started this thing called Hope Writers. And the whole idea behind Hope Writers is to be the most encouraging place on the internet for writers to make progress. And our core philosophy is if you're making progress in your writing, you won't quit. So we're sort of on a mission to help writers not quit, because the publishing machine is kind of against you.
Right.
And so we wanted to find a way to make it really simple and straightforward of how to let our members and non-members know where they are in the journey. And that's really where we discovered quiz funnels and the ask method. And that's kind of what brings me to, the first time I started learning from you.
I love it. It's so cool. Your story is so inspiring. And what I love, it's sort of this meta thing, is that, as someone who's, I went through the experience of being a first-time author myself.
Yes.
Being a nobody, an unknown that, publishing houses wouldn't even look at, a book deal, forget about it. Who are you? And one of the things I learned along the way is if your dream is to become a published author, one of the most important elements that a publisher is going to look at is your platform. So how large is your audience? Are you a nobody, or do you have a big, large, established audience? And they use that in large part to decide if they would even consider publishing your book based on your book proposal. So how large is your audience? Now, when you have a quiz funnel and you're using it to build this audience, it's one of the most powerful things that you can bring to the table and say, hey, I've got this great idea for a book. Oh yeah, and by the way, I've built this email list of over 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, or in your case, 100,000 people who have gone through this quiz, who are ready and able and excited about this book. And all we got to do is launch it to that group of people, and it's going to be a great success. You're going to get the attention of publishers because it's something that they look really closely at. And so, you know this, of course. I learned this, along the way, the hard way. But for anyone watching this right now who may be in that situation that you're in, having that dream to publish a book and saying, well, do I do my book first and then I build my audience? I can tell you the road ahead of you is infinitely easier when you have that audience of people that you can bring to the table to make that dream of publishing a book a reality. So that's super exciting. I'm really, really excited to talk about the quiz. Before we get to the quiz itself, though, Brian, I'd love for you to maybe paint a picture of what life was like in this business. How you were getting leads, if you were getting leads, the challenges that you were facing along the way, and then, how the quiz funnel maybe changed some of that story.
That's right. That's so good. We thought about quitting. We had this membership site, Hope Writers, that we were charging $18 a month. So we weren't charging enough. We didn't have a progress plan, right? A path to success. And so we started learning from our mutual friend, Stu McLaren, who teaches have a path to progress. And so we realized over about 2 years of having this little membership site, I think we might have had about 400 members, which isn't, that's not bad. But 400 members at $18 a month split 3 ways, like you can't pay your rent on that. Right. And so we were kind of struggling, and we started paying attention to the fact that our members are at different levels of the journey. And it's something I do in my own business coaching. I teach the idea of having a foundational framework, that there are 5 stages to the journey or 7 stages to the journey. Like no matter what it is that you offer, there is stuck and there's success and there are steps in the journey. And that's what we created the quiz around. So we were really curious how many of our members are at what we call stage 6, which is the entrepreneur level of being an author. Like they already have multiple books, they've got a team, they're generating 6 figures in revenue. That's kind of like the pinnacle of where somebody can go with Hope Writers. And then how many people are at stage 1, where they haven't made the pivot, what we call the great pivot, going from writing for yourself to writing for a reader, going from a writer to an author. And that's our stage 1. And there's 4 other stages in between. And we didn't really know our audience well. And that's where I discovered your stuff from Stu, who said, just create a quiz and you can figure out where is your audience in the journey. And once you can diagnose where they are, they trust you to help you helping them make progress to the next stage. So we discovered Bucket, we discovered Ask Method, and we said, what if we were to create a quiz? And all we would do is we just say, you're a stage 1 writer. To learn what that means, enter your name and info, and we'll give you a little 5-minute video training, which I think I completely just ripped off from you. Like that's totally a Ryan Levesque thing, And from there, Then we have a follow-up email sequence that then gives them some strategies to move forward, to go from stage 1 to stage 2, or stage 2 to stage 3, whatever it is. And then our entire member library, we reorganized it according to stage. So this whole idea of stages has been a foundational part of our business. We went from 400 members at $18 a month. When we launched a quiz funnel, we almost immediately doubled our membership, because now they knew that we could help them move forward. And over the course of the last 3 years, we've now crossed the 4,000 member mark. Wow. And we've raised our price several times. $47 a month, $497 a year, $14.97 lifetime, 4,000 members, huge email list. But it's been so rewarding, and so much of it, I give you credit for teaching us how to do quiz funnels.
There's so much to unpack in that story, and I love it. I love hearing stories like this that, it plays out exactly as, I would dream it to play out, and certainly as we intend it to play out, because that's one of the big benefits, is when you're able to diagnose where someone is along, this journey, it allows you to say, all right, here's where you're at right now. And yes, what people want, they don't want to know the 15 things they could do. Like, people don't want to know that. It doesn't matter if you're helping people go from writer to author, no matter what you're helping people with, losing weight, having a better relationship, getting better at, playing the guitar. It doesn't matter what you help people with. People don't want 15 possible things that they could do. They want the one thing that they should do based on where they're at right now. I just want to know, Brian, what should I do next? Like, what should my next step be? Now, it's impossible to give that to people at scale unless you're taking time to ask them questions to diagnose their situation so you can prescribe that best next step. And when you do that, people are in the situation where they say, okay, Brian, this makes a lot of sense. So what do you recommend? Where do I go from here? And that's where you have the opportunity to say, well, this is what we help people with all day, every day in our Hope Writers membership, where we help you get from stage 1 to stage 2. And then once you're at stage 2 to stage 3, stage 4, stage 5, all the way to stage 6 in our journey of success. So, I love that so much. Now, before we show the quiz, I want to maybe show some numbers, because I think people like the numbers that you've done in your quiz are almost unbelievable. Like, we share these numbers and it's like, wait, is this real? Like, are these real numbers? So if it's okay with you, I would love to pull up this screenshot right here on our quiz. So the numbers that we're looking at here, over 134,000 people have started this quiz. We have 106,000 people who have gone all the way through that quiz. And I know, and sometimes we have people opt in, and sometimes we're just driving people straight to that next step as opposed to, inviting them to opt in. But maybe just talk a little bit about these numbers here and what it's done for you and your business.
Oh, absolutely. It's super humbling. And I'd say if I were watching this right now and I wasn't aware of, this, I would look at these numbers and say, there's no way that I could get there. And y'all, I have to tell you, like, I used to be a teacher, like I used to be a teacher. I just want to figure out how to write a book. This wasn't like I grew up like knowing how to do marketing. So I think the magic in a quiz is that it's very, it's a great Facebook ad, right? It's a great thing to run traffic to, because people understand what you get. It's not complicated. It's discover what your writing stage is, click to take the quiz. And anybody who clicks to take the quiz from a Facebook ad, they're likely to persist and actually go take the quiz. And if they take the quiz, they're likely to opt in. So real quick caveat, just from a technical perspective here, we were using Bucket 1, we've just upgraded to Bucket 2. And so we're actually using a third-party platform for capturing the opt-in. So the opt-ins you're seeing are not reflective of the actual results. Our opt-ins are significantly higher than that. I think we're more in like the low 60s in terms of how many people opt in. And I know that when we upgrade to Bucket 2 and move over a quiz, it's all going to be displayed in the metrics here. Because, yeah, for people to complete the quiz, so 134,000 people have actually just started the quiz. The first question we ask is that really, what do you call it, like the really simple no-brainer question to ask at the beginning, which we just simply say, do you have an email list? and they either say yes or no. And what happens is it just gets them started.
Let's take
We
a
used
look
to
at that
ask
right now. Yeah, so this is a great example of this. I love
Yes.
so much about what you're doing here. Number one, so this is a great example of, you know, driving people straight to that first question in the quiz. So straight from a Facebook ad to, or any type of, post or video, or, you know, it could be YouTube video, Google ad, could be a Pinterest
Right. Swipe up
post,
on
could be
Instagram works really well.
yeah, swipe up on Instagram. It could, in a B2B
Yep.
context, it could be LinkedIn, but just driving people to that straight question. It's so engaging, right? Do you have an email list? No, I don't. Yes, I do. All right, like,
so good.
You've got me. All right, so next question. What are you struggling with most? And you just take people down this path where you're able to, just like a doctor, diagnose their situation so you can prescribe that best next step. So yeah, anything you'd like to share about this?
Yeah, so then what we did is we just took, it's really two questions, right? We just took like, which one makes the most sense according to a stage? So what we did, I mean, we went a little deep here, you know, we built quite a team over the years, is we actually did case studies. We went and interviewed our members, and when we found out where is it, we did both surveys and like Zoom interviews, and we asked our members like, okay, you're stage 2, where are you stuck right now, and what's your dream? Those are the two questions I always like to ask. So if you're stuck building a quiz, ask them where are they stuck, because people know where they're stuck, and they also know what they want. They know their dream, but they don't know how to get there. And so those are the really simple questions we ask. So yeah, we start out with where you're struggling right now, and then this is more of the dream, like what best describes you. I need this, like I need a good writing routine, or my writing is clear, but I'm not sure who I'm writing for. So, and it's not complicated, right? There's 6 answers, there's 6 stages. So essentially the way we scored it is if they answer like 1-1, then they're going to be a 1. And if they answer 2-2, then they're going to be a 2. It gets a little complicated when they say I'm a 1 and then I'm a 6, you know, like that kind of thing. But for the most part, people are 1s. They're just across the board, 1s or 2s. We know most of our audience is like the beginning audience. So yeah, if you want to click that one as well. And then what do you think is your next right step, which is really, really powerful. So they might say, I want to figure out my message as, right? Or wherever you want to click. And then it takes them to the result page here. So it says your results are in. Now we recently changed this because what we were finding, we used to have on the opt-in page that it would say, congratulations, you're a stage 1 writer. Enter your info to find out what that means. And what we found out is that people were basically abandoning cart at that point, right? Because they know, oh, I'm a stage 1 writer. I can go find out what that means. Like it satisfied their curiosity to figure out what stage they're in. And we realized we actually, I think you teach this, right? You wait until you get the opt-in before you tell them the result.
Well, it's a testable element, right? So, and there's a lot of nuance to what you're doing here, and it really comes down to you want to give enough at this point so that they feel confident in providing their contact information, but you don't want to reveal everything if your goal is to have an ongoing dialogue and communicate with people in exchange for their email address. You don't want to give it all away because you want to preserve that relationship. So you can follow up with people and, like you said, give them additional value and follow up with additional emails, maybe share examples and case studies and testimonials and stories of other stage 1 writers and stage 2 writers that were at that same kind of level that they're at. So, you know, this is where you want to go. So I love that you've tested this and I love the change that you've made here and what it's done for you guys. And then what happens next? So if I were to put my name and email here, where am I directed next? If I type in Ryan and I'll just put
go for it.
Ryan@test.com, just so you know it's me and not a real real person.
So then it's going to take you to what I call a thank you offer. And essentially the idea here, and this is for especially for those that are nervous about running Facebook ad traffic or whatever your platform is, because you know, as advertising platforms get a little bit more complicated, often it can get even more expensive. And so if you're looking for that ROAS, that return on ad spend, we have found that having a thank you offer can significantly decrease our loss on ads. You know, we're willing to lose money for the first month because we can gain it back with a recurring membership. But what we do here is we have Emily, who's sort of the face of our company. You know, she's one of the 3 partners that people know the best in this niche. We haven't even talked about this, but our niche really is a 35-year-old mom who wants to write a book. That's really our focus. And so what Emily does here is there's a little video where she explains what does it mean to be a stage 1 writer. And what this video does, Ryan, is it builds up know, like, and trust. It's basically they're looking at her and they're saying, wow, she can really help me. It's really encouraging. We got some like little piano music that plays. She explains what it means to be a stage one writer. And then immediately she pivots to an offer, because we know, an email list is valuable. A buyer list is even more valuable.
Yep.
So what we do, I think it's on this page here, is the editor bundle. So what we did is we have 136 trainings in our member library. We have a different teacher every Tuesday. We call them Tuesday teachers. We took 3 of our trainings from our membership. We pulled them out and we put them in a little bundle. And we split test this, which was really fun. I actually have the numbers to share, which is crazy. But we offer these 3 trainings for $9 or $17. And we've actually found that the $17 is like the price point for our customer avatar there. We've tested all kinds of prices, but that $17 mark for 3 trainings, really easy initial offer. And what it does is it offsets our ad costs. So even though our leads are costing us, I just checked it, $5.62 per lead. If we have the right, conversion metrics in place, we can decrease that cost to just a dollar or two a lead, and then make that money back, a month or 2 later.
I love so many things about the story, and it's, I'll underscore a few of them. So number one, if you don't have something like, you don't have your be-all, end-all program, or you're working on your membership, or you're not quite ready to launch, well, using a quiz like this is a great way to build a pre-launch list. So you can build a list of people who are ready to sign up for that thing when you have it ready. And if you've got something in the meantime that you can stick in there. It doesn't have to be the perfect thing. It could just be something that you have sitting on the shelf right now. So you guys took a few recordings that you had, packaged it together, did it at a low ticket price. And like you said, you're building not only a list of leads, but a list of buyers now. They're that much more likely to spend more money with you and evolve the relationship and go deeper with you, which is great. Second thing that you're doing is, even if they don't buy, the fact that you've established this know, like, and trust right here, where you've demonstrated what I like to describe as your empathy and understanding for that person's situation. So in this case here, your partner is able to say, listen, stage one writers, this is what that means, and we get it. Like, when you're at stage one, we know what that is like. And so now you're demonstrating, hey, you get that person. That person feels understood. They feel heard. They feel like, all right, I'm in the right place. She gets me. She understands me, and I'd love to know, like, what opportunities exist to do more stuff together. So there's so much good that can happen from just this one little step right here. If we come back to me here for just a second, Brian, you mentioned, I was looking at kind of some of the notes that I had, that 100,000 people going through this process, average cost per lead at somewhere between $5.68 and $7.64, which may be a little changed since we looked at those numbers. It changes all the time. Yeah. But just contrast that with revenue per lead. So let's just say if I'm paying $5.68 per lead, how much is one of those leads worth in the business, to kind of contrast those two numbers?
Yeah, our current ARPU right now, our average revenue per user is $43.21.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
So what's that? 8x. We 8x that return after getting that lead. And now that's over the course of a year.
Yeah.
But some of that we see initially, and we're an open close model. So, so we only open 3 times a year. But yeah, I mean, to make that money back almost within that first month, and then to be able to scale it from there, it's freedom. We built a team of 46 people. We started with just 3 of us.
Wow.
And we got people all over the world, hundreds of thousands of people that know about Hope Writers. But even better than that, Ryan, and I just have to say this anytime I talk about Hope Writers, is the stories that are getting out. That mom who, I'm thinking about this mom right now, KJ, who had a cancer journey, literally went through a cancer journey, had this faith that she just, in her mind, good people never get cancer. And she really struggled with this. And she wrote a book about her journey. And that book has resonated thousands and thousands of times with other people. And she credits Hope Writers for being the place to tell her, your message matters. Like, your story is worth being in a book. And I just, the pebble never sees the ripple. I don't think I'll ever see the long-term effect of what's been able to be possible through Hope Writers. And so much of it is because you're teaching and having a quiz funnel. Like once they know I'm a stage 1 writer, then they make the progress to become a stage 2. Stage 3 is when we recommend they do a book proposal. And then watching that journey over the last 5.5 years has just been so powerful. It's been life-changing. It's literally our legacy work. And so much of it is because we started with a quiz.
There's so much about that I love. I love the mission that you're on. I love what you're doing. I love that, you're able to generate such a great income for yourself and for your family and your partners. But even more importantly, you're able to create the impact that you're having, and that ripple effect, because, there's someone who literally probably right here, right now, today, during this interview, has taken the quiz. Like literally in the last 5 minutes, they just went through your quiz, they've taken it. And I'm willing to bet if we fast forward a year from now that there's someone today, like right here, right now, today, took the quiz, was signed up for Hope Writers, has a story that gets out there in the world, and then there's somebody else that reads that story and their life is transformed. And that's like the really cool, like gives me like the chills on the back of my arms right now thinking about this.
Right.
And for anyone watching this right now, this is what this allows for you to do in your life, in your business as well. It gives you the tools and technology to take that dream or that mission or that legacy that you want to live and lead and puts it in a way that you can actually get it done. Like it takes that sort of, big picture, my someday maybe I want to do this, and gives you the tools and technology and strategy that's actually going to make it happen. Because let's face it, you've got to do something that not only fuels your soul, it's also going to fill your bank account. Like you can't go broke doing it. And when you're making 8 to 1 for every dollar you spend on this quiz funnel machine that you've built, you make $8 in return. Jeopardy question, how many dollars do you want to put in that machine? Alex, the answer is, what is infinity? Or whoever the next host is going to be, right? What is infinity dollars? That is the correct answer, right? Because that just allows you to scale your impact. And this number's at 100,000 today. I would not be surprised if sometime in the future we have this conversation again, and we're going to be crossing the 1 million person threshold. And that is just like, when you think about the legacy that you're leaving and the number of lives that you're impacting, it's pretty freaking cool. I mean, we're talking big numbers. Like this is. It's not small potatoes, man. Like you're doing it. You're doing it.
Yeah. And this wasn't our first, this wasn't my first idea. This wasn't our first business. It's probably 13, 14, something like that. So for those that have tried quizzes, or for those that have tried to get started, I just, I have a book called Start With Your People. I want to encourage you to start with your people. Like, who are the people around you? And that's really where Hope Writers came from. Like, Hope Writers' origin story was that 3 of us were speaking at this conference. We had a bunch of friends who were speaking at a conference. And we said, what if we rented an extra hotel room and we interviewed our friends? And we said, and we'll just take those recordings and we'll just charge a monthly fee for those recordings. Like, that's where Hope Writers started. And honestly, if it didn't work in the first month or 2, we just would have shut it down and tried something else. But it just happened to connect and resonate. I think 40 people joined the first month. Like, you start small. You don't despise the small beginnings. You get excited because you're making progress. Yeah. But if you tried it and it hasn't worked, my number one piece of advice is go check in with your people. People pay for the pain to go away. Where have you experienced pain in your life? For me, it was overwhelm of how to get published. So that's what I do every day. For you, you've overcome some sort of story of struggle in your life. Maybe you can be that helping hand to somebody who's struggling right now.
I love it. And there's so much wisdom in so much of that. Listen, Brian, I know we've got to run here with the time that we have, but I'd love to ask you one last question before we end for the day, and that's this. There are people watching this right now. There's a person watching this interview right now, and they're on the fence. They're saying, like, is a quiz funnel right for my business? Should I enroll in this training? Is it everything that people are saying it is? Is it, do I do this? Yes or no? They're on the fence. And I'd love if, there's anything else that you'd like to say, especially if you want to speak from the heart, from someone who's gone through this process to someone who's in the situation that maybe you were in not that long ago. What would you say to that person who's watching this right now?
Ryan, I remember where I was. I was my wife and I were on, we've got little kids. And so it was like that once a year trip where you get away from the kids. We were actually in Chicago. I remember exactly where I was. We were about to go, we had dinner reservations. We were about to leave the Airbnb. And I got your final email. Like, this is it, Brian. It's time to sign up. Yes or, yes now or no. Like, this is it. And I looked at her and I'm like, and it was, it's an investment. It's an investment. And the deal that Julie and I have, we've married almost 20 years. The deal that we have is anytime I'm making a significant investment, I also make a commitment to her. And I say, if I sign up for this thing, I'm going to do the work. So that's my challenge to you. Sign up and commit to yourself to do the work. And so I remember clicking that button, entering my payment information, going, I hope this thing works. And then I got to tell you, Ryan, you and your team, you guys over deliver. It's absolutely crazy. I remember, I got a box and there's a workbook and the whole thing. And I was like, this is so good. I got a Lego brick, like the whole thing was like so good. And I went through the entire thing. I filled out every worksheet. I went through every video. And I said, one day I'm going to be a success story. I'm going to be a case study. So to be here today is totally full circle. I'm so honored to be here. But I want to challenge you guys watching right now. You've got to invest in something. Why not invest in yourself for the sake of the person that you can help one day? Now's the time. Make it happen.
Awesome. Brian, I'm so grateful for you taking time out of your schedule to be here today, man. I'm so grateful for the work that you put into this and actually, doing the work, man, like getting it all done. And it really is cool. Like when I saw those numbers come through, I was like, whoa, like, it's really, really impressive, man. You should be proud of what you've done. And, for me, it's incredibly gratifying to be able to play a, tiny, tiny, tiny little role in that process, knowing the lives that you're changing. So really grateful for you sharing your story. Really grateful for you taking us behind the scenes in your business and showing us a little bit about your quiz and what it's done. And just want to say thanks so much.
Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate it.
Awesome. So you've heard from Brian Dixon, who has launched a quiz that literally went from nothing to over 100,000 people taking the quiz, which has helped lead to growing his membership to over 4,000 people in this membership, the Hope Writers membership, and the number of lives that he's been able to transform along the way. So for those of you watching this right now, if you're thinking, gosh, all right, like I'm not sure, should I do this, should I not do this? Here's what I recommend. Follow the link on this page. Remember, we have an entirely free workshop that you can go through that we do once a year that will walk you through the entire process of creating a quiz funnel step by step. And we go through the 3 types of quizzes and how to decide which one's right for you. We talk about the biggest mistakes that people make and how to avoid making them. We talk about the types of questions that you want to ask, questions you never want to ask, how to come up with a big idea behind your quiz, how to figure out what to offer after people take your quiz. We go through dozens of examples in all sorts of different markets, and we do this only once a year. If you're watching this right now, it means that your timing is perfect, and you can join us at this workshop by going to the link on my screen, which is quizfunnelworkshop.com. This is exactly how Brian got started when he first went through the process, and it's how you can get started as well, quizfunnelworkshop.com. And you never know if this is going to be the start to your first 100 leads, first 1,000 leads, first 100,000 leads in Brian's case, and the type of impact that this could have on your life and in your business and in the lives of your customers as well. So once again, this is Ryan Levesque. We've been here with Brian Dixon, and the link to join us at this free Quiz Funnel Workshop is quizfunnelworkshop.com. I look forward to seeing you inside the workshop, and I want to wish you a great rest of your day. Take care and talk soon. Bye-bye.